things I know to be true. All right, let's talk about it. So get in here. This is Jack with Cosmic Road. I talk about UFOs and the paranormal. Please like and subscribe and let me know what you think in the comments below. Yeah, I thought I'd do something a little different today. I thought I'd go over, I'm not going to go point by point over all of my, experiences, but I want to give you an idea of things that I have personally experienced and why I believe what I believe. What I do know to be true, direct experiences that I have had. So let's talk about it. Okay, I've written a few of them down just in general. Okay, UFOs. I've had 2 UFO experiences. One of them was probably more nuts and boltsy. One of them was decidedly more mystical. And if you want to know more about that, you can go to my dedicated video on that, my Jesus Ayahuasca UFO. And I wasn't on ayahuasca when I saw the UFO. So yeah, I had UFO experiences, so that probably means there were occupants of those UFOs, but I did not see them. I've been in a couple of situations where other people were encountering beings, like a CE5. People were experiencing and interacting with beings that I couldn't see. So, I believe those people. I believe that I was in the presence of beings, but I did not personally see them or consciously interact with them, except maybe for one instance. Okay, moving on. Other things that I know to be true. The Force is real. Chi, the Force, Ki, Prana, Vril, whatever you want to call it, it's real. I've experienced it many times. I experience it on a daily basis. I'll leave it at that. But the universal energy that probably powers Reiki and healing and other things as well. Chi is real. The Force is real. Thought projection. I've experienced thought projection before, which probably ties in with remote viewing and other forms of this. One time during Reiki class, we did an experiment in thought projection where we put our, we partnered up and we would put our foreheads together, and I would send an image, and then my partner would send an image to me. And she wasn't able to see what I was seeing, although interestingly, somebody else in the room picked up on it. But I was able to see what she was sending. And I got it wrong, though. Well, that's weird, because it's the whole AOL thing. From remote viewing, that's the analytic overlay. I was seeing a round, spherical, pale, pitted object. And I thought, oh, well, that's a cantaloupe. So I said, it's a melon. And she says, no, it's the moon. So I was seeing it, but not seeing it clearly enough to be able to tell what it was. So I had my own analytic overlay on what I was seeing instead of simply describing the object that I was seeing. So really interesting. So I really, sympathize with the remote viewers who are, seeing stuff and then having this analytic overlay. And usually they'll make a note, AOL, to differentiate, what's the hard stuff from what, their AOLs are. So thought projection is real. Spirit visitations. Yeah, I've had spiritual visitations, and including one a port where a physical object was manifested. Spirits are real. We go on after we die, and they can interact with the living if they want, or if the circumstances are right. And ghosts are real. I differentiate between spirits that have moved on, but might come and say hello every now and then, with ghosts that might be bound here and trapped here. I used to do ghost hunting. That's kind of what started me having these experiences, because I didn't always have these experiences. I just started having these experiences a few years ago after I started ghost hunting. And at first I thought ghosts were probably some sort of artifact of alien technology. I didn't believe in spirituality. I didn't believe in souls. So how could I believe in that ghosts were actually ghosts, right? But through ghost hunting, I realized that ghosts were ghosts. Also, shadow beings. We had multiple shadow beings show up on the security camera. 8-foot tall, shadowy forms that would move through doorways, and when they would move through the room, the light would go off, and then after a minute, it would come back on, as if they were drawing energy from the electricity to manifest. Really, really great footage. I wish I could show it to you guys. I wish I could show it to you. The husband is a lawyer, and we stopped ghost hunting at that house after studying it for 6 months to a year because we wanted to use the footage that they kept on sending us from their security camera footage. And they said, no, we won't allow you to do it unless we have an ownership of your company. They wanted to buy us out or whatever. Anyway, we didn't do it, so we couldn't use the footage, and they would sue us if we did. So whatever. So moving on, attachments. Attachments are real. During one ghost hunt at a separate place, at a abandoned hospital here in Texas, southeast of San Antonio. It was a real negative place with a lot of crazy stuff, dark interactions that people had been having for a long time. One of my ghost hunting buddies actually got scratches on her arm. So we were going around from room to room, trying to use our spirit box, to communicate with the beings that were there. And we went all over this crazy hospital. It had a huge cathedral-like chapel. It had a dungeon. It had an underground area where there was a jail, because at one point the hospital had been a rehab center, and they had partnered with the police, and there was an actual jail underground in the basement. There was a dungeon. It had a cathedral. It had a dungeon. This place had it all. It was kind of gothic. It was a great ghost hunting destination. But we couldn't get anything from the chapel or the dungeons. Nothing was interacting with us through the spirit box. But as we were going up from the second floor to the third floor, which was the highest floor, all of a sudden the spirit box went crazy. It started cursing at us. And right then, one of my ghost hunting buddies got 3 scratches on her arm. So alarming stuff, and that's when they decided to call it a day, and we packed it in and went home. But before we did go home, I got an attachment, negative attachment, and I felt it kind of when it happened. It was this creepy negative. I felt very kind of hostile and agitated. The next day, everything felt colorless and drained of vitality, as if I was seeing the world in a sepia tone. It was weird. So I made an appointment with my Reiki instructor, and she did Reiki on me the next day, and she removed what she saw as a negative slug-like thing. And she opened a portal. It's a little more complicated than that, but anyway, she got rid of this attachment. So attachments are a thing. So orbs are real. During ghost hunting, we got so many orbs, especially in that major haunted house, really a haunted mansion that we investigated for 6 months to a year. So much crazy orb action. I wish I could show you those videos. Really cool stuff. Orbs going through walls and solid surfaces, just appearing from nowhere by the hundreds, these storms of orbs. Crazy stuff, guys. Crazy stuff. So orbs are real. All right, moving on. Other things. Kundalini awakenings. Kundalini awakenings are real. I had a Kundalini awakening a couple of years ago. And when I say Kundalini awakening, I mean the textbook Hindu Kundalini awakening. I had pulses that went up my spine. I started to go into seizures. Fortunately, I recognized the symptoms of a Kundalini awakening. Otherwise, I would have gone to the hospital. But I kind of knew what was happening. I was like, wait a minute, could I be having a Kundalini awakening? Surely not. Surely you jest. But I was having a Kundalini awakening. It went on for 5 hours. My Reiki instructor had 6 of these events in her lifetime. And when I asked her about it prior to my experience, she said it was like a cosmic orgasm. And I thought she was just being metaphorical. It was like it was a really nice experience. But no. The Kundalini energy is a very sexy energy. It was a very, very nice time. No alcohol required. Yelp rating 5 stars for the Kundalini awakening. It was amazing, guys. Now, I don't want to be too flip about it. It was also a spiritual awakening. It was an enlightenment modality. I'm extremely lucky, extremely grateful for that amazing experience. I don't know what to make of it. I never had that moment where I achieved enlightenment. I mean, it is an enlightenment modality. Am I enlightened now? I don't feel enlightened. I never had that moment where I felt like I knew the answers to everything. So, but what's really intriguing about Kundalini awakenings and Reiki and other things like this, there are different modalities of it, and they all work. So after my Kundalini awakening, which again went on for 5 hours, it was an amazing experience. It was a very physical experience. Pulses up my spine, seizures, an extremely physical experience. But at the same time, I wasn't like present. And I'll get into what my acupuncture said later. But just getting back to that a little bit, it was like I was like half out of my body, but not fully out of my body. I wasn't capable of conscious thought. I was in this weird state of being. I was just in the light, if you will. There were no visuals, but I was in the light as I think of it. It was just this amazing experience. I'm so grateful to that experience. I hope I have another one, and that this time I do learn the answers to everything. Although, as I'm about to relate, that doesn't always really matter. Okay, so my acupuncturist, who I talked to about this later after it happened, he said he had a similar event that happened for him. And he described it as a Kundalini awakening. People use that term as a broad umbrella for enlightenment modalities. But, a Kundalini awakening is a very specific thing. It's the Hindu thing, pulses up the spine, seizures, and so on. So it's kind of frustrating that we have that one term for these, all these different events that people are experiencing. But they are real events. That's the interesting thing. So I wish we had more terms available. But so he was in meditation, and he had this heat that started in his lower belly and rose up through his chakras and out his head. And he had a transcendent enlightenment event where he understood everything, the reason for everything. He had it all, and it faded as soon as he came out of it. So that's the frustrating thing about enlightenment, is that it doesn't always stick. In fact, it's very typical that it fades after it happens. So, very frustrating. But the interesting thing I think about that experience is that he experienced something very similar to me, with the energy rising through his body and having this experience. But he didn't have the seizures. He didn't have the pulses up his spine. He didn't have the cosmic part of it. So a very different modality, but a very real modality. So it's like, there is one overall phenomenon that can happen in different ways, but those ways individually are very real and very specific. I find that incredibly fascinating. So yeah, and others have had other various Kundalini awakenings in various ways. Again, that's an umbrella term, not the specific event that that happened for me. I don't want to say I achieved it, because I didn't. It was a gift. I wasn't in meditation when it happened. And if you want to listen to me talk more about that, you can watch my dedicated video on that in my playlist under my experiences. So Kundalini awakening. Chakras are involved in that, right? That's the idea, is that it's going up through your chakras. So that means the chakras are probably real. And also some underlying part of Hinduism is correct. I don't know about the totality of Hinduism. I've studied it a little bit. It's very complicated. It's very specific. It's very over the top. I don't know how much of that is real and how much of that is not real. I have not experienced it directly. I've only had that one small part of it. But some part of Hinduism seems to be real. Telekinesis. Telekinesis is real. I'm not going to go into any detail on that. Apparently, you're not supposed to talk about it. If you do talk about it, you have to call it an illusion. Uri Geller calls himself an illusionist, even though he has been into skiffs where, he has gone into skiffs to demonstrate his abilities, to show you how legit he is. And the people that he was in the skiffs with came out of those skiffs saying, yeah, he's legit. But he calls himself an illusionist. There's a reason for that, having apparently to do with the belief of the audience and how that belief can affect the energy. Because it doesn't seem to be a mental ability. It is chi. It is the force. You are interacting with the energy, is my understanding. So levitation. Levitation is real. Yes, I've had personal experience with levitation. Again, I am not going to go into any details on that. But Preston Dennett did an hour-long discussion of levitation and of various credible, events where people have levitated and people that were levitating regularly. So yeah, that is a thing that I have experienced. And I'm not going to go into any details on that. Healings are real. Obviously, I do Reiki. I've done Reiki. I've seen the evidence of Reiki healing working on people. So, and also other modalities of energetic healing as well. They work. Also, higher or different energies or presences can heal as well. Like I received a physical healing of a serious medical condition from ayahuasca. Is that the spirit of ayahuasca? Is that what is ayahuasca a goddess? Does ayahuasca simply allow you to ascend to a place where other beings or presences or energies can interact with you and heal you, or work with you in other ways? I don't know. I wish I understood ayahuasca. I love ayahuasca. It can be very, very difficult. It can be very challenging, but to the overall good, at least for me. So Reiki is real. Reiki is fascinating. It's one modality of energetic healing, and it's a real thing. There seem to be beings that help with that energy and may even have developed that particular modality. It's a very specific modality with attunements and symbols. But there are other modalities that don't require that. But I believe that some higher dimensional beings did help us develop that particular modality of energetic healing. Synchronicities are real. That's fascinating and weird that synchronicities seem to be real, and I've experienced those in my life that are hard to explain through mundane causes. So I don't know what that means about the fabric of reality and our consciousness's relationship to the fabric of reality, and any spirit guides or beings that may be working with us in this reality. So, but it's so fascinating. I would love to understand that along with so much of this other stuff. Out-of-body experiences. I had my first out-of-body experience, I think it was in December. Really cool experience. Sadly, no visuals. I made a dedicated video talking about it if you want to know more specifics about that. But yeah, so, consciousness is not local. Consciousness is not relegated to our bodies. Our souls or consciousness can leave our bodies. Pretty cool, guys. Pretty cool. So messages from beyond. Yeah. During meditation, I have received one really solid message from beyond, and a few others that are less solid. But one of them was super solid. I was asking the universe how I could love the universe when there was so much darkness in it. And the message that I received, it was a 10 words long. Each word was separated by a few seconds. It was in my own voice, my own internal monologue voice, but it said, the universe is a frequency. It must vibrate to exist. Even slower than that. But the universe is a frequency. It must vibrate to exist. I don't think that the spirit guides or whoever was telling me that was trying to tell me about the physics of the universe. It was an answer to my question, how do I love the universe with all the darkness that is in it? And the answer is it must vibrate. There must be yin and yang, good and bad, light and dark, pain and joy, for this construct that we call the universe to exist at all. In order for any of it to exist, all of it must be possible. Now, I highlight the word possible because I hope that we can get to a point where the bad stuff doesn't happen, where the potential for it remains so that we can have the universe, the potential for it vibrating, is there. But maybe we don't have all that darkness. Maybe that's not technically required. Maybe simply the possibility, the potential for it is required. I hope so. I hope so, guys. So there you go. Those are some of the experiences I have had and, the individual components of them. As in out-of-body experiences, synchronicities, orbs, ghosts, messages from beyond, Kundalini, chakras, etc. Those are all things that I have personally experienced. I have been in the presence of likely beings that I could not see. And I've also, one of those beings was likely Jesus. I talked about how there is probably some underlying truth to at least some parts of Hinduism. Well, I also believe there is some underlying truth to Christianity in Jesus and the story of Jesus. Was he an ascended master? Was he the great teacher prophesied by Atlantis, as spoken of in the two Dolores Cannon books that I read prior to that ayahuasca retreat that led to me resonating with Jesus, that led to that UFO that I had? Unclear. The truth of this is all unclear. What it all ultimately means is unclear to me. I wish I knew what it all meant, but I do know the things that I experienced are real. I don't know what they mean, but this stuff is real, guys. At least from my own experience in my own interactions. Obviously, your own experiences may be entirely different. I expect that they are. And I encourage you to share your experiences in the comments below. But I did think it might be a helpful video to describe some of the experiences that I had and some of the width and breadth of things that I know to be real. The woo-woo is real. The UFO is real. They're blended together. All of this stuff is super intriguing, exciting. I would love to know more about it. I would love to develop my own abilities more. I would love to be able to induce an out-of-body experience whenever I wanted to go party in other dimensions and learn wisdom from, 12th dimensional sages and stuff like that. Wouldn't that be cool? And I think that if more people were talking about this and admitting to the reality of this, we could have schools where you could learn how to achieve some of this stuff. And we can make a lot more progress as individuals and as a society if more people will talk about it. So this is me talking about it. Obviously, I'm not even attempting to back any of this up. This is a huge, trust me, bro, but it is what it is. And those are some of my experiences. Again, I would love to hear about your experiences. So let me know what you think about it all and what your own experiences have been in the comments below. And if you've enjoyed this video, please give me a big thumbs up. I sure would appreciate it. Smash the like button, the subscribe button, and the bell to be notified of future videos. You don't want to miss a thing. Join me on social media, Facebook and Twitter, links below. Love to see you guys there. If you wanted to support Cosmic Road in a bigger way, consider grabbing a coffee mug or a t-shirt in the merch store below, or by becoming a channel member, because channel members are rock stars, and I really appreciate you guys' support. Thank you. Meanwhile, there are plenty of other videos on the channel, and I'll see you guys next time. This is Jack with Cosmic Road, signing out.